So in our last problem, we used Pythagoras Theorem to find the long side of a right angle triangle by adding the square of the two short sides and square rooting the answer. In this example here, we're going to find the length of side AB, so that's this side running from the top to the bottom, A to B. We're going to find that length when we're given a long side, so I'll make that 7.4 meters, and down here I'm going to make this short side 3.1 meters. We're going to try to find AB. What I'll also do is we'll make this more of a real life example. So I'm going to pretend it's a tree instead. I'm going to make the canopy there, and I'm going to go and put the trunk here, something like that. And we're going to try to find the height of that tree. So we can still say it's the height of a triangle, but instead it's a tree. We've got AB as the height of that tree now, and we're looking at using this rope. It's a 7.4 meter rope, maybe a flying fox. It goes from the top of the tree. It's been nailed down at this point C, and we know the distance from the tree to that nail is also 3.1. So can we use that information to find the height of a tree? Well, as long as it's a right angle, as long as we know that the tree goes straight up and that this ground is flat, we can use Pythagoras. What we'll do is we're going to use the formula again. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now remember that a and b represent the short sides. So do we have a short side? Well, we have 3.1 here, so we can use that. I'll put that where the b is. That's 3.1 squared. We've still got our plus. Now over here for a squared, do we have a value for this ab? We don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call it ab. And I'm going to square that as well, because we know that with Pythagoras we have to square these sides. So ab squared plus 3.1 squared is equal to the long side squared. Do we have a value for the long side? Yeah, we do. We've got 7.4. So 7.4 squared. Okay, now this part here is slightly trickier. What we've got to do is we've got to make AB the subject. So we need our end result to be like this. AB equals something. But we can't do that right now because what we have is AB squared and it's got plus 3.1 squared sitting there. So what we need to do is take away 3.1 squared from the left-hand side of this equation, and we have to take away 3.1 squared from the right-hand side as well. So I can just put here, take away 3.1 squared, and on the other side, to make sure this remains even, I'm going to also take away 3.1 squared. Now, if you don't like that, a lot of students prefer doing this. What they do is they circle the plus 3.1 squared, and they drag it to the other side of the equals sign. So this is a different way of doing it. When you drag plus 3.1 squared to the other side of the equals, it just becomes the opposite. So plus 3.1 squared over here, we're going to get instead minus 3.1 squared. Okay, so we just sort of changed that equation. We moved that 3.1 squared over to the other side and became a minus. So what we end up with now is if we rewrite this, we've got AB, and it's still squared. We haven't changed that yet. But that plus 3.1 squared, we took that minus, we put that on there, and that's gone and removed that. So that's disappeared, or we shuffled it to the other side. Either way, we've got the equals now. We've still got 7.4 squared, but remember, we've gone and deducted 3.1 squared from this side. So we've got minus 3.1 squared. So AB squared equals 7.4 squared take away 3.1 squared. If you put this straight into your calculator, as it is, we get AB squared, I'll keep those brackets, equals 7.4 squared take away 3.1 squared. That's going to give you 45.15 on the calculator. Okay, now is that our final result? Well, if you have a look over here, we have one long side, which is 7.4. We have a short side, which is 3.1. And the other short side, well, it should be less than 7.4, but what we've got is 45.15. What have we forgotten? Well, we need to remember we have to get rid of that squared because we only want AB. We don't want AB squared. So what's the opposite of squaring something? It's square rooting something. So you need to hit the square root button and then push the answer key on your calculator. That will force that 45.15 in there. Or you can just say square root of 45.15. When you do that, you get a value of 6.71937, and it just keeps going. Now, we need to consider one more thing. Is that our final answer? Well, it almost is, but if you go back to the original question, it says, find the length of the side AB, so that's the height of the tree, and it wants you to answer it to 2 decimal places. Now, what does it mean by answer to 2 decimal places? It means that you go from the decimal point and you go down 2 values. these two decimal values here. So we've got 6.71. But you also need to consider what happens after that last number, after that 1. Is the value after that 5 or above? Is it 5 or greater? And it is. So what happens is that 1 gets rounded up to a 2. So we end up with AB is equal to 6.72, and everything was in meters. So we just found the height of the tree there. We've got this rope, 7.4 meters. It's 3.1 meters from the base of the tree to the point C, and the height of the tree is 6.72 meters.